Hello and welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about the 5th episode of Percy Jackson, A God Buys Us Cheeseburgers. Dare I say, this has been the best episode we have seen so far. I'm going to try to stay on track and not jump around all over the place, but let's get into it. So I think one of the main reasons for me this episode was so successful, other than of course the amazing acting we see, is that a lot of people's complaints so far about the show have been fixed, I guess, in this episode, or we see some of the things people were complaining that we haven't seen yet, which is kind of funny because it's like the show is just over halfway over. Like a lot of the things, if you waited, it would have been fixed. So a lot of the stuff people are complaining about has now been fixed, and people are real quiet. So one of the main complaints I think I've seen is that we haven't seen the fates yet, and 10 seconds into the 5th episode, Annabeth sees the fates, and we see them snip a piece of string, which in Greek mythology means somebody is going to die. Obviously, we know it's not any of the trio, but I guess you'll have to wait and see. I also think that throughout this episode, we really see Percy's character develop as kind of this awkward middle school boy, which we first see when Annabeth hugs him and he just stands there, which I love. I will say this episode also has converted me into an Annabeth falls first type of girly. Growing up reading the books, I was always a Percy falls first version of Percabeth, but this episode's got me messed up a little bit. But yes, very awkward first Percabeth hug, which honestly super super fitting. Of course, it's awkward. They're like middle schoolers hugging. Yet again, we see more of Percy's silly little personality coming through when they're walking away, and he has finally discovered, I guess, that this might be bigger, I guess, than he originally thought. Whereas Annabeth and Grover have known this. It's just kind of funny to see in real time Percy's realization about what this quest actually means. Just kind of funny. And then the trio meets Ares, who is played by Adam Copeland, who is a professional wrestler, for those who may not know. And I think this was a really good choice by them. I think he fits Ares really well, and he does a really good job at being this stupid, I guess is the right word. I feel bad calling him stupid, but that's who Ares is. He likes violence, likes to fight. Not a lot going on up there. And I think Adam Copeland does a really good job. And then the trio meets up with Ares again in the diner. I think the little comment that Ares makes about starting an argument on Twitter is just so funny. So with the times, I guess. I don't know. It was just very, very fitting to me. Ares also shows the kids the interview of Gabe. And you know what? I can admit when I was wrong. I had said that I thought Gabe wasn't quite as mean as I thought he was in the books, and I take it all back. I can admit when I was wrong, and I was wrong, because Gabe is an asshole, and Percy literally says, I'm gonna kill him. Justified. Everything that happens to Gabe, justified. And then in the show, actually just Percy and Annabeth go to the amusement park where Grover stays behind, and I do kind of like this change. I liked what we got to see with Grover's character and Ares in the diner. Then Percy and Annabeth get to Waterland. We quickly learn this is an amusement park built by Hephaestus, which is pretty cool. It's also pretty cool that Annabeth describes to us what celestial bronze is, which is a really big part of the books, obviously, and I'm glad they kind of in the show let us know that just little tidbit of information, and Percy gets to learn that his sword actually is celestial bronze and that mortals won't be affected by this, but it will harm half-bloods or monsters. Also, just a little thing, but we learned that Annabeth has never seen a movie, which just shows how isolated, I guess, she is as a character. Like, camp is literally her entire life. It's everything she knows. It's everything she's really ever known. And just, like, to see that and to really know that Annabeth hasn't gotten to be a kid. She's never had the opportunity to do things that we consider normal kid things to do, like go see a movie with friends. I don't know. It was just really sad to hear that. Then we cut back to see Grover and Ares back in the diner. And we get to see Grover absolutely humiliating Ares, which is so funny and such a good addition to the show, in my opinion. In the book, we kind of know that satyrs are empaths and can read people really, really well. And I think this scene and everything happening with Grover and Ares demonstrates that in a really good way. Grover is kind of using Ares's emotions against him. We really get to see what a great asset he is to the trio and what an amazing character he is. I think this was really good for his character development. And then back in Waterworld, we get the Percabeth Tunnel of Love moment. I love the song that plays in the Tunnel of Love. They got in "What is Love?" So funny. Such a good song choice. And having the kids be kind of clueless and not know or like be super familiar with the song was really funny. I'm like, "Oh my god, I'm old and I'm only 22." I also think that the way we get information from the tunnel is a super cool and kind of unique. I like that we're getting background for personal context, but also it's opening questions to Percy and Annabeth about who really are the gods? Why do they treat each other like this? Why are they kind of terrible to each other? And why are we celebrating them? I think it is also just such a sweet thing that Annabeth comes to the defense of Sally when Percy is like questioning her, questioning whether she prepared him enough. And she's like, she was preparing you. She was preparing you so that you could be different and you could be what it truly means to be a hero. Going back to what I said in my last video, what it truly means to be a hero. Also, when y'all saw this scene, tell me you didn't just want to be on that ride. Disney World, Disneyland, Disney parks, take notes because this would be so fun. That was immediately what I thought when I first watched this episode. We get to see Percy actually use his powers to save Annabeth, which was really, really cool. And it's even more funny that Percy doesn't really understand what or how he just did that. It just kind of happened and now they're safe, which again is adding to his kind of naive, inexperienced, little middle school character. He really has no idea what's happening. He's going with the flow. And then the two come to the realization on what this chair is. And Percy kind of recites or retells the story about Hephaestus and the chair. And they realize that one of them is going to have to sit in it. And while the two are arguing on who gets to go on and who's going to sit in the chair, we get our first seaweed brain. This was integrated so flawlessly. It just was so perfectly fitting and just meshed so well in the context. I thought this was a great spot for us to hear the iconic seaweed brain nickname for the first time. And good job to Leah too for just making it fit so well. Also, is it just me or is Walker's speech giving, not me, not Hermione, you? Because I don't know why. That's just what went through my head when I saw this scene. But yeah, anyways, moving on. Also, Percy just telling Annabeth, you're better at this than me. So sweet. This whole scene, rent was due and these two were putting in the work. They acted their butts off and it paid off. This scene is so good. Leah especially just absolutely killed this. She was so good. You could just see the pain behind her eyes as Percy's getting covered. So I just want to give her a hug. Also, the way she just like barely even notices the shield, just walks right by it and immediately tries to figure out how to get Percy out of this chair that she knows not even the gods could figure out. So sweet. She's such a sweetheart. We also get to meet Hephaestus in this episode, which I was not expecting. It was really, really cool that we got to see two of the Greek gods. Hephaestus's character was really, really well done. We get to see kind of his jerkiness of being a god, but also that he has experienced being lesser than, especially after Annabeth gives her speech about Percy being good and Percy being different. He especially can appreciate that because of what he's been through. I think he did a great job. I think this scene was amazing, so heartfelt. So again, going back to that, what makes a hero a hero? Percy is a hero. He's a good person. We see this evolving through the show, especially in this scene, how Annabeth views him. So good. And obviously her speech hit home with Hephaestus as well because he lets them go and they get to go and return onto their journey. I loved this whole interaction, this whole scene was just so well done in my opinion. And then the kids bring Aries back his shield, gets them a ride. He throws the backpack to Percy, which we all know. And then Grover tells Percy and Annabeth that he thinks he knows who has the lightning bolt. Spoiler alert for who actually is the thief. If you don't know yet and you don't want to know, skip ahead like 10 seconds because I think that Grover is going to tell them that Clarice is the thief because we've kind of seen that rivalry between Clarice and Percy already, and I do think that they're going to save the Luke reveal as a big reveal, a big surprise as best they can, just because it was a big deal in the books when you found out who that Luke had stolen the lightning bolt. So yeah, that is the end of episode 5, A God Buys Us Cheeseburgers. Again, this episode was so good in my opinion. I loved every single second of it. I think the acting was amazing, the writing was amazing. Ugh, and I love kind of the additions. We really get to see Grover grow as a character. We get a lot of Percabeth, which so cool that we're getting little bits that we didn't get in the book that add to their relationship and add to everyone's characters. And in the next episode, the kids are going to be going to the Lotus Hotel. Aries told them Hermes might be there. He might give you a ride if you're lucky. So let me know what song you think they're going to play in the Lotus Hotel, because I got a few that I think would be funny. I got a few that I think would be smart. I'm just really excited to see how that episode comes out, especially because for me, every episode so far has just been getting better and better. So I'm really excited to see how next week's episode comes through. And if you like the video, again, make sure to like and subscribe. It means a lot to me, and I will see you all for the next video. Thanks. Bye.